Ready for some bold Premier League predictions? Keep watching as I share my 3 boldest, or some would say craziest, predictions for the forthcoming Premier League season. Hello good people, thank you for tuning in to another video on this channel, Real Football UK. My name's Ian. This video is my Premier League predictions video, and I'm going to make it a little bit different to other ones on YouTube that I've seen. I'm going to start with 3 bold predictions, then work my way through into where I think every team's going to finish in the Premier League from 1 to 20. Now you can be sure that I'll get plenty of stuff wrong because I'm notoriously rubbish at predicting stuff, but I like giving it a go anyway, and I really thought that YouTube was missing another predictions video. I didn't think there was enough of them, so I thought I'd add mine into the mix, and yeah, you can see what you think of mine. Before we go any further, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss anything else from this channel. So before we get to the league table where I predict where everyone's going to finish from 1 to 20, I'm going to do my bold predictions. Now my bold predictions are predictions that aren't impossible, they're possibly unlikely, but they are possible and they are definitely bold. And once I've given you my 3 bold predictions, I would absolutely love to hear if you've got any bold predictions in the comments below. So just once you've watched the video, put them in the comments below, and yeah, it'd be really good to see what other people's bold predictions are for this season. Okay, so my first bold prediction for the Premier League season this year is this. A team is going to score 10 goals in one match. Now, we've had plenty of big scoring games in the Premier League in the past. Manchester United famously beat Ipswich 9-0 at Old Trafford back in the start of the Premier League. And I've even seen Newcastle score 8 goals in a game against Sheffield Wednesday, Bobby Robson's first game in charge, and Alan Shearer scored 5 that day. So teams have got close to scoring 10 goals before in the Premier League. It's never happened yet. But I am predicting this season one team will score 10 goals in one game. Okay, so my second bold prediction is this. This season, the Premier League will see the most red cards there has ever been in a single season. VAR comes in this season, and as a result of VAR, we're likely to see more penalties because that's what VAR does. If you remember the Men's World Cup back in Russia, there was loads of extra penalties because of VAR. And I think as a result of that, we'll actually see more bookings, more sendings off. And I think that this season could be a season that tops the current high of 71 red cards set in the 2015-16 season. I think this season could be the season that we get more than 71 cards. So this season, my bold prediction, the most red cards we've ever seen in a Premier League season. And my third and final bold prediction is this. I think the champions will finish with fewer than 90 points. Now that might sound crazy because Manchester City, of course, have won the league for the last 2 seasons, and they scored over 100 points 2 years ago and 98 points to Liverpool's 97 this season just gone. There's a lot of teams improved this season, and I think the Premier League's going to be really, really competitive this season. And I can actually see some of the top teams taking more points off each other this season. So my third and final bold prediction for this season is that the champions will finish with fewer than 90 points. So what do you think? Crazy? Stupid? Or do you think I'm spot on and that this will happen? Let me know what you think of my bold predictions in the comments below, and also share with me your bold predictions too, and we can have a bit of fun with this in the comments below. Now, let's look at the Premier League table. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start with the top 10. I'm going to go from 1st to 10th. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the bottom half of the table, but then I'm going to start at the 20th and work my way up to 11th. Okay, so we're going to start from the top 10, working downwards, and then the bottom half, working up from the bottom up to 11th. So who do I think is going to be the Premier League champions? Well, for me, it's a 2-horse race again this season, and it's the same 2 horses as last season. I think that Tottenham could come close to gate crashing the party, but I don't think that they've got enough still to close that huge gap that there was between them and Liverpool and Man City last season. I think Man City and Liverpool have both improved this summer, and I think it's going to be a close fought title between those 2 teams again. I've got to give the edge to City again. I just think they've still got a little bit more, and I just think that they're going to do what not many teams have done in the past, and they're going to win their 3rd title in a row, which will be absolutely massively impressive. And I think Pep Guardiola just has them absolutely where he wants them, and yeah, they're just kind of just a half a step ahead of Liverpool still, but it's going to be another close title race, I think. So Man City first, Liverpool second, and I kind of mentioned Tottenham in that. So filling out the Champions League spaces, obviously I'm going to put Tottenham in third. I think they'll kind of be on their own in a way. I think they'll be the top two, and then there'll be a bit of a gap to Spurs, but then I think there'll be a bit of a gap to fourth. Who do I think is going to get that fourth spot? Lots of people mention Manchester United. For me personally, I just feel like, has everyone forgotten what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was like in the second half of his time last season? Man United were woeful. I know they've made some signings, and I know they've tried to improve. I'm not convinced Harry Maguire's the answer in defence. He's a good defender. He's definitely not worth £80 million. I think everyone's agreed on that. Leicester have got a good deal there. And I don't think Manchester United are going to finish fourth either. I also don't think Chelsea will. I think they did really well last season to finish third. I think they kind of, in a way, they even overachieved last season. And I think having lost Hazard and not being able to sign anyone really because of the transfer ban that they've got, I can't see Chelsea under Frank Lampard, a new boss, who, to be fair, I think will probably do a good job. I just think with the resources he's got, losing Hazard was just so key. He turned so many games for Chelsea last season. I think he's got so the amount of points he won Chelsea last season, I just think that's going to drop them down a bit. So I don't think Chelsea are going to finish fourth. I don't think Manchester United are going to finish fourth. I actually think Arsenal are in the best place to get that fourth spot, and I think they will get that fourth spot. So I think the top four: Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham and Arsenal. Now, going back to Chelsea, I think that Chelsea are going to finish fifth. I think that Frank Lampard will do a good job with them, and that they will finish fifth ultimately. So who's going to finish sixth then? Manchester United? I actually don't think it's going to be Manchester United. As I said earlier, I think that the Premier League has improved massively this season. I think there's going to be some really strong teams. And I think Leicester are a bit of a dark horse this season. I think they've built a really good squad. I know Brendan Rodgers is not everyone's cup of tea, but his track record is pretty decent, and I think he'll get them organised. And I think if Vardy has a really good season, I can actually see Leicester breaking into that top six. So let's fill out the rest of the top 10. I do think Manchester United are going to finish seventh. I think that they're not going to be a million miles off, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did get sixth, to be honest. But I think that Leicester might just pick them to that. I think Manchester United will be seventh. Everton will be eighth. And I actually think Leicester, Manchester United and Everton, they'll all be kind of there or thereabouts together. And they could kind of finish in any order, 6th, 7th and 8th. Filling out the top 10, I think West Ham are going to come 9th. I think that they've had a really good pre-season. I think they've bought well. They've got rid of a lot of dead wood. I think they've spent their money wisely. And I can see them having a decent season and finishing solidly in the top half. And I think Wolves will finish 10th, a little bit lower than last season. I think with Europa League, it's always hard to kind of maintain it in the Premier League the next season, so I think they'll have a dip in the Premier League, but they'll still finish in the top 10, which will be a really successful season for them. Okay, let's look at the bottom half of the table then, and we're starting at the bottom, the relegation places. Let's have a look at who I think is going to go down. So as you can see, I think the three teams that are going to go down are Brighton, Sheffield United, and unfortunately for me, Newcastle. I'll explain Newcastle in a minute. I think Brighton are significantly the weakest team in the league. They got rid of a good manager in Houghton. They haven't really brought anyone in. They've lost a couple of key players like Knockaert, and I just really worry for Brighton actually. I just think I can't see them being very good at all, and I do think that they will finish rock bottom. Sheffield United, amazing season last season. They've had such a rise up to the Premier League. They've done amazingly well. As long as Newcastle stayed up, I would be absolutely delighted if Sheffield United actually stayed in the league. However, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they haven't really reinforced well enough, strongly enough, and they're relying on a lot of young players as well. So I'm a bit worried about Sheffield United. I think they'll go down. And unfortunately, like I said, for my team, Newcastle, it's just been too turbulent this summer. We've gone from Rafa and the organisation he brings, losing Rondon, losing Perez, our two top scorers, not replacing them with proven players. I know we've got some good signings come in. Joe Linton looks like he'd be a good player. I just fear that we're going to just drop into that bottom three by the end of the season, because the main factor being Steve Bruce. I just don't trust him as a manager. He's got a really poor record in the Premier League. That worries me, and I can see it being a long season for Newcastle. As you can see, I think teams that are in the orange there, they're just going to escape relegation. So Villa, Palace and Norwich will all just squeeze it enough through. Villa have spent pretty well. I think coming up in the playoffs is always tough, but I think if Villa finish 17th, they'll be delighted with that, and they can re-establish themselves as a Premier League team. And Norwich as well, they've got a really exciting team, again a really young team, but I think they'll probably have enough going forward to stay up, and they probably will concede a lot of goals as well, but I think that they'll get enough points to win. If you can score in this league, then you've got a chance. And then finishing off 14th, 13th, 12th and 11th, the also-rans really. These teams are just going to kind of not ever be in any real danger. They're just going to be alright. As you can see, Bournemouth, Watford, Burnley and Southampton, they fill the rest of the league up, and yeah, I think they'll just be alright. They'll kind of be 40 to 50 points and comfortable, and you know, they'll just do a good job. And they'll just do a good job with what they have, and they'll be safe and won't have too many worries this season. So there you go. They're my predictions. There's my bold predictions, there's my league predictions. I would love to know what you think. So let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with my predictions? Where do you think everyone's going to finish? Yeah, let me know in the comments below. Thanks once again for tuning in to another video. Please remember to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss anything else from this channel, and I will see you really soon for another video.